Hello everyone, it's now 35 days of President Bola Tinubu's presidency and we're monitoring closely developments in his first 100 days in office. Thank you for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Ogunto. You can join the conversation now on Twitter using the hashtag first 100 days. Remember to tag at TVC News NG. So President Bola Tinubu is back in the nation's capital, Abuja, after the celebration of Salah in Lagos. And today at the presidential villa, he met with the Shell Global Upstream Director, that's Ms. Zoe Yuknovich. Also at the meeting was the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari. The meeting is President Tinubu's first engagement after the Salah festivities and his foreign trip to France on June 20 and London on the 24th of June. Yuknovich, who assumed office as Upstream Director on the 1st of July, has been a member of the Shell Executive Committee since 2021. And we're following closely developments from that particular meeting. We'll speak shortly with our State House correspondent for more on that. Away from that meeting, we understand that the former governor of Zamfara State, Sani Yerima, has told President Tinubu to negotiate with repentant bandits, considering it's a quick solution to the security challenges in the country. Senator Yerima said this when he briefed State House correspondents after a courtesy visit to the president at the presidential villa, Abuja. He also talked about the success recorded by late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua's decision to dialogue with militants in the Niger Delta region. That was in 2007.
People are Nigerians, and I believe that Nigerian government has the capacity, the military, the security, have the capacity to deal with them immediately if so directed, if they are given the resources they require, the support and political will. But the collateral damages that will be associated with the actions that will be taken is what I believe should be avoided. If you send an aircraft now to where you identify the bandits, it's not only the bandits that will be affected. And if you recall, President Umar Musa Yar'Adua had similar interaction with the militants in Niger Delta, and it was successful. So I believe that as Nigerians, if they are called upon by government, the major causes of this problem is poverty and ignorance. You cannot find an educated human being, properly educated human being who has something to do, to take his arm, a gun, to go and kill an innocent soul. You see, I'm not making a case for bandits. I'm just proposing a solution to banditry in Nigeria. The bandits, a lot of them have been killed. A lot of them have been arrested. And I'm not saying that the government should just continue to just negotiate indefinitely. No, I said invite them. There are people who repent in all religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. You find that God himself who created us, once you repent after committing offenses, after committing sin, he forgives you. So there is no way you can say Nigerians should not be forgiven for if they repent. If they repent, they should be rehabilitated.
All right, so what do you make of that development? Let's find out. Remember to use the hashtag first 100 days. Should this administration negotiate with bandits or go all out against them? President Tinubu also met with the new service chiefs in a closed-door meeting. The meeting marks the first time he will be meeting the new service chiefs officially as president. Speaking after the meeting, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu said the president has appointed quality people and they will deliver improved security to Nigerians.
We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one. And we know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back. He gave us the assurance that he is with us 100%. He told us that we must work as a team and there is a work to be done. He will expect us to deliver, and we are grateful for the opportunity.
State House correspondent Femi Akonde joins me live from Abuja. Femi, President Tinubu has held his first formal engagement with the NSC and the service chief since their appointment on 19th June. What have you garnered about this meeting?
Yeah, hi, Femi. Well, this meeting, like you rightly said, is the first between the president and the newly appointed service chief. It's going to give fresh directives and the way to go in tackling emerging threats to national security. And he also got a status brief on the security situation in Nigeria from these service chiefs led by the National Security Advisor. President Bola Tinubu has always talked about interagency collaboration. He has always frowned against this unhealthy rivalry between security agencies in the country. We all know, it's public knowledge that at every given opportunity, our security agencies fight and they do not collaborate, and that has only succeeded in worsening the security situation in the country. When he first met with the service chief, that is the ones, the immediate past service chiefs, what he told them is that he would want them to collaborate. He re-emphasized that to the newly appointed service chiefs. So what we expect moving forward is to see that collaboration between the service chiefs to ensure that issues of national security are tackled frontally with all agencies working together, sharing intelligence, and ensuring that at the end of the day, the security of lives and property is guaranteed. And we also know that, President Bola Tinubu has said that the priority of the administration will be security. And this is something he takes very serious, Nefemi.
Absolutely. About 55,000 Nigerians were reported to have been killed by terrorists, bandits, and armed gangs during the previous administration. And President Tinubu did promise to defend the nation from terror and all forms of criminality by reforming, the security doctrine and its architecture. And I believe Nigerians are counting on that and see what this new service chiefs will bring to the table in the coming days. But Femi, there are reports that the ministerial list is ready and undergoing final security check, and that there's the likelihood that list will be submitted to the Senate for confirmation this week. We understand the National Assembly is resuming tomorrow. What are you hearing?
Well, that's what we are hearing, but for now it's still unofficial. We cannot preempt President Bola Tinubu. We know that he has a given period of time to submit that ministerial list. We believe that what we are hearing from reliable sources in the president is that he has put this list together, but nobody wants to be quoted as having said that the ministerial list is ready and the names on that list. So everything is all up to the president. We believe it's on the desk of the president. The National Assembly will resume tomorrow. We know that what the National Assembly will do first is to appoint presiding principal officers. So as soon as the National Assembly also gets its acts together, we expect President Tinubu to send in that ministerial list for screening and confirmation by the Senate. But for now, we do not know when. Some people are saying most likely this week, but our fingers are crossed and we're waiting to see when that will happen.
Looking forward to it. Femi Akonde live for us in Abuja. After the break, policy analyst Hamzat Lawal joins me on the program. Stay with us.
I, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear
Well, the unveiling of President Tinubu's ministerial list is perhaps one of the most keenly awaited developments in the country this week. There are indications the ministerial list would be unveiled anytime soon. This list is a critical component of the president's vision for the country and the expectations of Nigerians are very high. Recall that former President Muhammadu Buhari on March 17, 2023 assented to a bill mandating the president and governors to submit ministerial nominees or commissioner nominees within 60 days of taking the oath of office. President Tinubu now has 25 more days. Some say he's not under pressure. He still has a lot of time to submit the ministerial list to the National Assembly for scrutiny. Joining me now to discuss this is policy analyst Hamzat Lawal. Thank you for joining us on the program. In March this year, his now essay on special duties, communication and strategies did say a month maximum is enough for any serious government to form its cabinet and put the structure of government in place after swearing in. Now, some have said that the president may send the list of his ministerial nominees to the National Assembly this week after lawmakers resumed from the Salah break. It's still very much within the 60 days required by law. But what do you make of this time frame?
Well, thank you for having me. I think that the Constitution is clear. The president has 60 days after being sworn in to send his ministerial list for confirmation by the Senate. But I think President Bola Tinubu has started very well. He actually started hitting the ground running, appointing special advisors. And when you see the people who he appointed as service chief, and particularly the national security advisor, is unprecedented. So we're quite optimistic that President Tinubu would recruit the right set of people. Yes, we are, a lot of people are a bit anxious who would make this list, knowing that constitutionally one ministerial appointment must come from each state. So we're expecting 36 ministerial positions. But be as it may, I think that it has shown that President Tinubu was actually ready for the job. Because when you see the appointment he has made, his advisor on healthcare, he's showing you that actually the dividends of democracy and serving the Nigerian people is close to his heart. And we're keenly watching and hoping that when we see this list, once it's read on this floor of the Senate, we'll be proud and Nigerian people will continue to support him to achieve his mandate as the president.
Trust me, we're all counting on that. One of the president's selling points during the campaign was his capacity to identify and deploy capable hands, talents, and leadership, and what have you. Talk to us about what your expectation of this list is as regards the names.
Well, for me, I'm more keen on inclusion and intergenerational solidarity or equity. What does this mean? Who are the young people that will make this list? And what will be the percentage of young people that will make this list? Women. Because when you look at the people that inform his emergence as president, it was the young people and women that came out en masse to cast their ballot for him. So people also with disability, what percentage of this demography would make this list? Because today you have over 70% of the population who are young people. I have no doubt that President Tinubu has the capacity, has the courage and the focus to be bold and courageous to recruit the right set of people. But for me, I want to see a ministerial cabinet that looks like my generation, that actually embodies over 70% of our population, that brings that workforce, that energy, that number to his government. I know he's going to recruit people with the capacity and people with the skills and experience. And knowing that he's also keen on a government of national unity, but focused on capacity to deliver on the dividends of democracy and the promises he has made to the Nigerian people. I'm really optimistic, but I'm hopeful that we'll have a lot of young people play a key role in the government of President Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima.
Add to capacity, Mr. Lawal, is experience, and that has been the position of those who would want to talk about, people who have a track record of success in respective fields. And they do say that comes with some age. What do you think are those key factors that would drive performance for the minister designate?
Well, I don't think it comes with age. You see, a lot of young people have played their role in business and entertainment and various other sectors. But in politics, they bring in age. And I think President Tinubu is one politician that have groomed a lot of young people and continue to groom people. And when you look at people of his own time, this is someone who has been out of office for over 20 years, but you've seen people around him who he has groomed, from their prime and continue to shape and groom them. So I believe that he still have an opportunity to continue to ensure that he looks at our own demography. But I also believe that he's going to recruit people from all walks of life, business, oil and gas, people in diaspora, because when you look at his campaign, he ran an effective campaign that he didn't leave any stone untouched. So I believe he's going to look at various demography, various walks of life. But for us, we're keen to watch what becomes of this ministerial list.
There's
because also he has set precedents.
Indeed.
There's precedents in...
Please go ahead. Let me allow you finish that thought.
So he has set precedent, because when you look at the appointments he made when he was sworn into office, it's unprecedented. His chief of staff, for instance, someone who brings vast experience, from the legislative arm, his service chiefs, his national security advisor, his various other advisors as approved by the Senate. He has set precedent that he's actually the man for the job and is ready to take Nigeria to greater heights. So
you're saying we don't expect him to move completely away from, the few appointments we've seen in the past few weeks. But there's this ongoing debate about who best fits this position, a politician or a technocrat. Will it matter if the names tick the boxes you mentioned earlier for competence, for experience and integrity?
It does matter, because it sends a signal. It sends a signal that this is not going to be business as usual. It's going to be business unusual. But also we need to be very conscious here, because everyone has a right to get appointed by the president. Yes, we're setting a benchmark for the kind of people we want to see. But for me, you see, you can't take away politics, because when you do good politics and you bring good policy, that's what brings about the dividends of democracy. And the people enjoy that. So it should be a mix of technocrats and politicians. And come to think of it, governance is also about playing politics. So you can bring people who are technocrats, but they can't play politics. Because again, you're dealing with business people, you're dealing with politicians, you're dealing with entrepreneurs, you're dealing with market women, labor unions. So you must play politics. And mind you, each and every one of us are politicians as humans.
Interesting. I like the way you put it. I tweeted earlier about people mentioning a name they are sure will make the Tinubu list. And it's amazing to hear the familiar names, former governors, prominent APC loyalists, and even former ministers. Are you comfortable having the same names, back on the list this time?
It's not about my comfortability. It's about the choice of Mr. President and what he believes and who he believes can actually work with him as a team to deliver the dividends of democracy and meet the promises he made to the Nigerian people. But as a young person, I don't want to see older people being reshuffled over and over again. So what becomes of the younger generation? What becomes of my own generation? So I believe that, and I have confidence in President Tinubu, to recruit new faces and new names and bring them to the corridors of power and nurture them. You see, again, our country must have a vision. That transition must happen in a way that we prepare the next set of leaders. And it has to start now, and the future is now. And you and I are part of it.
In the last dispensation, we didn't see much of reshuffling, within the cabinet, except, I think it was in the second term that the former president, brought in a few new ministers. What should be the template going forward? Some periodic review of performance is needed if these individuals are going to be effective. Do you agree?
Yes, there must be key performance index or indication. The president must set a target for them, and he must communicate this to the Nigerian people so we can hold those ministers to account. So we must review performance. There must be town hall meetings where they share what they've done as deliverables so that the Nigerian people can hold them to account, but most importantly, support them. Because whatever policy or agenda that the ministers would roll out, the Nigerian people must see themselves as ownership towards this policy and program and also ensure that we all achieve it. So we must ensure a benchmark. And President Bola Tinubu has created that template for benchmark. And I'm glad that he has met first time with the service chief and the national security advisor. So what this tells you is he's not only appointing you into office, he's also getting feedback from you. And I know he's one politician that always feels the pulse of the people and interacts with the people, even as an elected president. So again, we must have ministers that deliver on President Tinubu's manifesto and campaign promises under the platform of the All Progressive Congress.
The relationship between the presidency and the National Assembly looks good in the early days. The party choices emerged principal officers both at the Senate and the House of Reps. As a matter of fact, the House of Reps had Speaker had an unprecedented support during that election. What impact do you see this have on the quality of confirmation process? You know, the vetting process that will follow the submission of this list on the floor of the Senate.
I think it will be seamless. See, the exciting part about President Tinubu's presidency is his chief of staff has experience from the legislative arm, and he has grown even to become a number 4 citizen before now. So I think that robust relationship is important, where we have executive and legislative arm of government actually work together in serving the Nigerian people. But we must also be cognizant of the separation of power. In as much as they have that cordial relationship, they must not cross that line to ensure the separation of power. Because mind you, without the National Assembly, we would not have a democracy. It is the National Assembly that ensures that what we're practicing today is a democratic state.
We've had conversations about the take a bow and go, experience we've seen in the past years. What do you make of it?
Well, there are people that you have to honor them. When you look at their antecedent, when you look at their background and their achievement, you have to honor them and have them take a bow. But I think that democracy allows for robust debate. We need to hear this ministerial appointment, share their ideas. And I want to believe that President Tinubu, when he submits this list, he would attach portfolio to it, so that when senators are asking questions, they ask questions in line with the portfolio that the person is hopeful to be sworn into as a minister for. So I want to believe that the Senate would allow for a robust debate, interact with these nominees, and let's hear their ideas in how they would work with President Tinubu to take Nigeria to greater heights in meeting the aspiration of the Nigerian people.
It was towards the end of the last administration that Festus Keyamo talked about the unconstitutionality of ministers of state. And many people had asked, why talk about it when you are just leaving office? What do you think? Do you agree with him? And what do you make of the numbers, in such a way that it will reflect the cost-cutting policy of this new administration?
I'm glad you ended with the cost-cutting policy. Yes, I know constitutionally we must have 36 representatives in cabinet. But I also think that it's not only ministerial appointment that have a seat in cabinet. And I think that as Nigerian people, as we reflect on the policies, bold and courageous policies that have been introduced by President Tinubu. One is the removal of fuel subsidy and saving us trillions in coming months, is to look at the effectiveness of the cabinet itself rather than the numbers. And I think this is where, we must show solidarity and support for our government, because it is our government. Let's look at the effectiveness of, this cabinet rather than the numbers. And for me, either a minister or minister of state, what is the effectiveness? What is the value and contribution these people will play in nation building and in serving the Nigerian people working on the Tinubu's leadership? So for me, again, it's not about the number, it's about the effectiveness. It's about delivering on key mandates that ensure that the Nigerian people enjoys and feel the dividends of democracy.
How long more does this administration has to deliver on key issues? For instance, the removal of fuel subsidy and its attendant impact on the economy of Nigerians. How long more do you think Nigerians can wait on the intervention and begin to see government dispense this saved cash or the saved money on infrastructure and other things that can better benefit them?
I think once we have ministers in place, we have to be patient for another 3 to 6 months. I say this because the ministers have to be onboarded and they have to be briefed. And of course, before they now do needs assessment. And mind you, the 2024 budget would now be the budget that really carries President Tinubu's vision and aspiration in delivering on the dividends of democracy and his promises to the Nigerian people. But when you look at it also, and speaking about short-term and long-term wise, President Tinubu and his cabinet will have only 3 years, because in another 3 years, politics will start, or politics will start, and the campaigns will kick in.
Well, they have now done 35 years, and you know, the clock is ticking. Time, they say, waits for no one. Policy analyst Hamzat Lawal, live for us in Saudi Arabia. By the way, the turban looks good on you.
Oh, thank you so much. Call me Alhaji now.
Oh, Alhaji, congratulations. See you in Nigeria soon. Well, that's our program today. You can watch a repeat broadcast at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Ogutoye. I'm back at 7 with a more comprehensive bulletin. Stay with us.